Welcome back. As parents, we know how important it is to teach our children financial responsibility. We give them an allowance as payment for doing chores, and we emphasize the true value of a dollar. But do we as adults have the knowledge and confidence to teach our children about credit scores and bank loans? Teri Williams is president and COO of OneUnited Bank. She's author of a new book. It's called I Got Bank. It's a children's book that seeks to engage young people in understanding fiscal responsibility at a very early age. She takes us along the journey of a young character named Jazz Ellington, a 10-year-old boy who has over $2,000 in his bank account. And we find out what Jazz does with that money. Hi, Teri. How are you today?
Hi, Karen.
Listen, what a great idea. What made you decide to write a book about financial literacy for children?
Well, I realized that there aren't a lot of books today that teach financial literacy to kids, especially kids in urban communities. As we were looking to adopt a school and wanted some material to teach kids about financial literacy, we couldn't find any that really included things that I think that kids need to know, especially that live in a city. Things like check cashers, check systems, credit scores, even some of the dark side of money, such as foreclosures and repossessions. And I couldn't find that information in a book, so I started off just writing a little pamphlet, and it ended up being a book.
Now, when did you learn about finance? At what age?
I had the fortune of having parents that taught me some basic things about money when I was young. So I had a savings account. I don't know if you remember those old passbook savings where you went to the bank and you deposited your money. So I had one of those. But a lot of what I learned, I think I learned like a lot of kids learn, just by gathering information here or there. There wasn't really any source, any one source or any book that I could turn to or that I turned to as a kid. And because of that, it was sort of trial by error. I mean, I think that the idea is to try to avoid that kind of trial by error.
You know, this is a generality, but I would think, generally, African American households don't know as much about finance early on, and so don't pass that knowledge on to young people as they grow into adults. And some of that knowledge on financial literacy seems to be more widely available in mainstream communities or upper middle class white communities. And young urban kids need to know this stuff too.
Absolutely, and in fact, one of the great things about the book is that it is set in an urban environment. And if you read the book and feel Jazz, you can see him as someone that you would know from that community. So kids can relate to him. And it tells a story, so kids are really excited about the story while at the same time they're learning.
Tell us some of the things that happened to Jazz and this $2,000. He just goes through a whole lot of stuff in this.
He does. First of all, he has some family members that want to spend his money, including his mom, his older brother, and his sister. And that's not unusual in a family where someone may have a little more and others want to use it. And so what he is trying to do is to save his money, as his granddad taught him to do, while at the same time help his family. And
that's a tough spot to be in.
It is a tough spot, especially for a 10-year-old. But he does a pretty good job.
And along the way, he picks up all of this different knowledge and some of the specifics and background that one needs to create a successful financial future.
Yes, he has the benefit of having a bank account and meeting his banker, who's called Miss Benjamin. And she...
Because it's all about the Benjamins.
It's all about the Benjamins. And she sort of takes off where his granddad sort of left. And she teaches him things about, bank accounts, savings accounts, certificates of deposit, credit scores, and the impact of having a low credit score and how that stops you from getting a loan. So she really starts to educate him, and in fact comes to his class and teaches his class as well.
You know, one of the things I like about the book is it would appeal to a young person, just the choice of the word, the Benjamins, and using the phrase, I got bank. I mean, Benjamins refers to Benjamin Franklin, who's on the $100 bill.
Yes.
I mean, so it's a lot of colloquialisms.
Yes.
in the book that I think young people in urban communities can relate to.
Yes, I agree. And it's Benjamin is also something that's used in a lot of rap songs, which a lot of kids hear, but I'm not sure if they really understand sort of the meaning behind it. And part of the book is to sort of help them understand that banking and saving is what ultimately builds wealth. So.
Now, you have an essay contest that you're launching in conjunction with the book.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, first of all, we are giving the book away for free to any public library or middle school who request it. So if you go onto our website, OneUnited.com, book, you'll be able to order the book for your library or your middle school. But in addition to that, we have an essay contest where we're asking kids between 8 and 12 to submit a 500-word essay about what they've learned from the book or any other book. So you don't have to buy the book in order to participate in the essay. It could be any other financial literacy book. And submit that, and we're going to give 3 kids a $1,000 savings account.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the essay supposed to be about?
The essay is, we ask them to take what they learned from a book about financial literacy and how it could help their family.
Oh, that's a good essay.
Yeah.
And I think the contest is over in June?
Yes, they have to submit by June 15th, and we'll be selecting winners by the end of July, and they'll opening their savings account by August.
Okay, and Teri, you have young kids.
I do.
What's the review from your kids on the book?
Well, my daughter loved it. She's actually 16 now, but when I started writing it, she was 14, so it was a couple years ago. And she loved it, and she gave me some pointers. My son, on the other hand, has not read it. And I keep trying to get him to read it, and I'm still trying. So, I think she's a really big reader, and he is a reluctant reader. So I'm still working on him.
Okay, so you face some of the same challenges, even though you're a COO of a bank, that all parents do in trying to get young people to listen and learn.
Yes.
Well, we'll take this book, everybody. It's called I Got Bank. It's a great story. Thank you so much, Teri, for joining us to tell us about it.